Hello and welcome to the interview on France 24. My guest today is Leila Zerougi, who is the United Nations Special Representative for Children and Armed Conflict. She was appointed in September as the UN sought to raise its profile on this topic. The world body estimates that there are something like 250,000 active child soldiers in the world, but of course no hard figures exist. Mrs. Zerougi is an Algerian lawyer and was a member of the Algerian Supreme Court before launching her international career. Welcome to the France 24 interview. We've heard the UN passing a new resolution in September, naming and shaming perpetrators who use children in war. And also several countries more recently, this month even, signed on to the Paris commitments to end the use of child soldiers. What have been the effects so far of these diplomatic moves on the ground?
I think that in some countries it helps very much to advance. We have 20 action plans signed in different countries, which is a positive. Just in 2012, we have 4 action plans in Somalia, we have in DRC, we are working on an action plan in Yemen and in Sudan. So this is positive in itself, and we have also now the well-known judgment of the ICC that let also commanders to know that this is an international war crime and that they could be prosecuted at the international level. All this help, but at the same time, the nature of conflict make it that in some area where you don't have this problem, start again, like in Mali, in Syria. And so these are the kind of challenge that we are facing. And we would like really that we put a very effective tools and mechanisms that allow us to prevent the recruitment and use of children rather than run after and try to get them out after they are recruited.
A lot of people draw attention to the list of persistent perpetrators which have been on this blacklist for at least 5 years. And in September, when this UN debate was happening about the resolution on children in conflict, the French ambassador said, and I quote him, "In most cases, we have no means of effectively punishing the violators, which undermines the credibility of the child protection mechanism established by the Security Council." So action plans, but action seems to be retroactive, would you say? It's after the conflict, helping with trauma and things like that, rather than prevention?
No, in the action plan you have 3 segments: prevention, verification and separation of children, and reintegration and reinsertion of children in their community. The problem with the persistent perpetrators is when either you don't have a political will or it's difficult to access some armed groups that don't have an interest in engaging with the international community, like the LRA, for example, Al-Qaeda. These are terrorist organizations or organizations that are outlawed by the international community. So it's difficult and the most important way then to respond is to put in place a system that allow for military operation, pressure, arrest and prosecution. So we are trying to think how we can address the persistent perpetrator. If it is government, then we have other means to work on this. And I think that we are advancing very well when it comes to military forces.
What about the sanctions, though, on individual commanders? We're talking here about militia groups, not governments. Has that had any effect? Have they then been unable to move money around, for example?
I think that the sanction committee is more helpful to delegitimize those who, after they are taking arms, using children to get at the end a legitimacy at a political level to become a partners. So putting them on the sanction committee is more important to say you are not a partner for the UN, you are not partner for the international community, you will be prosecuted. So this will help more at this level rather than the sanction, because the sanction is important when it comes to government partner, when it comes to parties that move freely through the system. But when you have people in the bush, the most important in the say, you will not be allowed to sit on the table and to negotiate.
I want to talk about the overall list, because the 32 persistent perpetrators are part of a bigger blacklist. And despite all the UN's efforts to reduce the problem of children being used in war, names are actually being added to this list, aren't they? I mean, it's expanded this year to entities in Syria and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Could you just give us a bit more on that?
First of all, the list, the parties in the Republic Democratic of Congo were in the list before. What changed is that we have the ex-CNDP now that were in the army. Now they are an armed group,
which is now the M23.
The M23 leaders of the M23 are put on the sanction list. We have now 5. From the prominent leaders that are on the sanction list, including the commander of the M23, Sultani Makenga, who is on the list, listed very recently by the sanction committee on the DRC.
But you don't have evidence so far that that's actually stopped them, changed their behavior in some way?
I think that it's important to get to use all the tools. Because, first of all, this will allow to ask for a sanction against these people, to ensure that you can fight impunity. You ensure that these people will not be return again in the army and start creating instability. Because people that are recruiting children are not only recruiting children; they commit other violation around the recruitment.
That could be an argument for closer cooperation between your office and the International Criminal Court, and that's actually something that the French are very keen on expanding. Is that a move that you would support, and how would that work in practice?
We are already working with them. We contributed, for example, to the case on Thomas Lubanga. We are working with the trust fund of the ICC to also help using the fund of ICC in the implementation of action plan for the reintegration and reinsertion of former child soldier in the Lubanga case. No, we work with the ICC, and ICC is a tool that allows us, because recruiting children is a war crime, and where the ICC operates, we try to contribute to their work, and we consider that prosecution is a very important tool. Fight against impunity is an important tool. I would privilege myself the building the capacity of the national court and building a national response, because this is more sustainable and will allow also to reach those who are within a country. That's what we did in DRC, for instance.
Has anyone actually been indicted by the ICC partly as a result of evidence that you've given on, or evidence that you've assembled in relation to a commander, for example, using child soldiers?
First of all, you know that ICC work with, we provide, our reports are public. The investigation by ICC is more thorough. They also they work with us. They work with peacekeepers in the field. They have their own tools. So I cannot say that it's because we are the one who are. But
you put them in the right direction.
We work together
based on your own information.
Our work and the sanction committee, because the sanction committee work with us. And also peacekeeping in the field and other partners. Of course, the whole system use the information to allow for indictment. But at the national level, yes, we provided and we supported the national justice to arrest and indict. And soldiers are detained in some country thanks to the work that is done on the ground. And we would like to make it sustainable, to ensure that recruiting children will be banned from all countries.
I'm very struck by looking at the list again, to go back to the permanent perpetrators. Of course, Africa is heavily represented on this list, but also Burma. There are 7 militia groups on your list, which dates back to April in the copy that I was sent. Is that a particular focus at the moment? Because it's not a conflict that the world is paying that much attention to. I mean, they know about Sudan, they know about Darfur, but perhaps less so about the child soldiers situation in Burma.
I think that we are very focused on Burma. We have an action plan signed with the government. We have an opening now with the move that is now ongoing in Burma. We have a very strong team working with the government. We would like to, the Security Council, the working group on children of the Security Council was supposed to go to Burma, and my office is involved. So we are really focusing on Burma, and I'm sure that we will have some results in the coming months. So it's not forgotten for us, at least.
Okay, we'll have to end it there. Thank you very much, Leila Zerougi, UN Special Representative for Children and Armed Conflict. And to check out upcoming interviews, don't hesitate to look up my Twitter handle, which is @ArmandGeorgian. See you very soon on the France 24 interview.